Hello, my name is Myrna O'Connell and welcome to Parting Words, a podcast series from RIP.ie and proudly sponsored by An Post Insurance, supporting the plans that make life's hardest moments a little easier. You can find out more at anpostinsurance.ie. In this series, our guests will reflect on the messages we leave behind. Through stories, music and conversation, we explore how loss and grief shape us and how parting words can help us navigate life once our loved ones are gone. In this episode, we meet legend of TV and radio Colm Hayes. Colm has been entertaining people on airwaves for decades, from his early pirate radio days to FM 104, 2FM, Radio Nova and most recently, Classic Hits. In September 2025, Colm announced that his wife, Anne, had passed away. Today, Colm shares a story of the 6 years where he and his beloved Anne were living with cancer, how he's trying to cope with grief and loneliness, the importance of condolence, and the precious moments he and Anne shared together before she passed. Colm Hayes, welcome to Parting Words.
Yeah, thank you.
It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah.
And I want to say a huge thank you for coming in, because the person we're talking about today is not long gone. So can you tell us about the person you lost and who they were to you?
Well, she was my life partner and my wife, Anne Laird. And she died she died 2 months ago. She'd lived through stage 4 metastatic breast cancer for 6 years. We were told 6 years ago, just before COVID kicked in, which there's things when, as anyone will know, going through grief or going through cancer, there's little milestones that you always recognise and think, hey, if that hadn't happened. In other words, if Anne had even been 4 or 5 weeks later going in to just get the lump checked, all the tests and all the hospitals were closing down because of COVID. So she wouldn't have got into treatment, so she wouldn't have got those 6 years. So that's a little thing. So she was diagnosed, just in 2019. And the day her first treatment on chemo, so it was chemo tablets, was the day my dad passed away, which was quite poignant. Now, he was quite elderly and he was in a nursing home. So at his funeral, she wasn't even able to walk because she got this reaction to the chemo tablet. So why I'm saying that is that's like the first blood. That's the drawing of the first blood of the 6 years. For me, it is the way I look at it. And then, as I said in the eulogy, I was saying that we decided we're living with cancer, not dying from cancer. The treatment was keeping the cancer at bay to allow her to have a life. And we just said, what's your life? What is your life now? And what are you going to do? So in the period of time, and we mapped it out in the last 3 years, Anne travelled 24 times. She travelled away. And we used to have 2 suitcases, and one was for the hospital and one was for the airport. And that's the way we worked it. And we had a chart on the wall, and the black mark was when she was doing chemo and the green one was when she was flying away. So we'd always try to work something in. So we're talking LA, we're talking Palm Springs, we're talking... she went to Australia. Her friend had moved there in the 90s. Her brother-in-law flew her first class, business class, Dublin, Dubai, Sydney. We went to Kos 3 times. We went to Lanzarote every November around this time. She went then on January and February, then she'd always go to Lanzarote with her sister and her sister-in-law. And then we had a thing called the Portugal group and the Portugal family, where we rented a villa in Portugal, and every September 4 families, Lairds, 4 of the families all came down, and we just lived up in this villa for like 30-40 people sometimes, and that was every September.
And you've used the word lived so much there, lived, because an awful lot of people, first of all, being diagnosed at stage 4 metastatic cancer, breast cancer. I can't imagine what a shock that was.
Well, it was a terrible shock because she was told she didn't have it. So when we went in first, we were told that she had breast cancer, but stage 2, and that it hadn't spread. So Anne was going to get, I mean, at that stage she was talking to nurses about, she was going to lose her breast, so about reconstruction, that sort of stuff. And even my daughter had gone with her to talk about that. And then we got the call about 2 weeks later, and he said, "I'm really sorry, but it's actually stage 4. I shouldn't have said that." And I'm like, "No, you shouldn't have said that. That is horrific. That professionally, that you guessed at somebody's life."
How did you get your heads around that?
Okay, it happened. It was done. There was nothing that could be done. It was there. Like whether he guessed right or wrong, Anne still had stage 4 cancer, right? So we needed to circle the wagons pretty fast and deal with this, and then got the most amazing oncologist, Janice Walsh, who I can't speak highly enough about. She's amazing. So we just decided, okay, this is it. This is where we are now, and we live. You're only dead when you're not alive. So people who say, "I've got a death sentence," you don't. You're alive. And when you're dead, you're dead. Don't mix them up.
So you lived?
Yeah, we lived. And it was difficult. And the last couple of years, I think the worst part for a woman is, and Anne had a beautiful head of hair. She was very dark. But we always worked out she was of Portuguese extraction somewhere down the line. So she was very dark, as my daughter is. And she had a beautiful head of hair, and thankfully for the first 4 years she didn't lose it. So the chemo, what happens is, cancer is very clever, so it works around the chemo. So then you get to another level and another different type of chemo. So this particular chemo then that she got, she lost her hair, and that was devastating for her. That was really, really tough. And she'd got a wig, but she didn't like wearing a wig. And she did get hair extensions, which looked quite good. And then she'd wear the hats and the scarves and that. That was really tough for Anne. I know that was. I think in her head and in mind, that was sort of, okay, this is where we are. We're heading down. We're heading down here now.
Did you acknowledge that?
We did and we didn't, because I always said to Anne, "I don't want to talk about your death, because I'm going to have to do an awful lot of talking about it when it happens, and you're not going to be here to talk about it. So don't put me in that position now." And I would say as well, look, you don't need to talk about it. It's because talking about it doesn't change it. And it doesn't, and she was doing therapy, and I would say to her, look, that's for your therapist right there. That's her job right there. Janice's job is over there with the chemo. Your therapist's job is to deal with those dark, dark thoughts in your brain and in your head every single day. And my job is to make you dinner, make you smile, and make plans for the next holiday, and do that, And so we sort of, and I know she would have spoken maybe to her sister even about it, but we tended to avoid that too, the conversations that were too grim, because like anything, a conversation, words can block you, as in, if we said something and it was just the wrong thing to say, or about planning death or a funeral or whatever, that's always going to be hanging over us every time. And every time we go away, or oh my God, I'm back for chemo, I know in our minds be going, oh yeah, and remember, that's the way you said it, you're going to bury me, or something like, do you know what I mean? It was just, we didn't need that conversation in our lives. That conversation I dealt with family and friends, and I know she dealt with her therapist. But as a couple, no, we avoided it, and we avoid. And it's not like we avoided it. We avoided it by saying we're avoiding it. It's not going to help, and that's the way we did it.
You confronted it, and then didn't engage with it.
Yeah.
Anne died the day after your 35th wedding anniversary on the 16th of September, just past, in St. Vincent's Hospital in Dublin. 35 years together, Colm. 35 years married.
35 years married, and 10 years before that. And like any marriage, 35 years, like we were up, we were down, we had fights, we didn't have fights, we loved each other, we were best friends, we knew everything about each other. It's 4 years ago in Portugal, with our Portugal group, we landed and we'd take everyone around to this bar called Aaron's Isle, and we knew the owners because friend of a friend, it's their sister-in-law, it's their cousin, so they always rope off an area for us. And that was the area for the week for the Portugal group, and because there could be 30, 40 of us sometimes.
Yeah.
But this particular Friday, everyone got there, and there's karaoke going on, and I know the guy that did karaoke, Ray, and I took over the microphone, and everyone looked at me going, "Oh God, here we go." And I went, "Look, I have something really special to tell you that I didn't want to tell anybody, and we just want you guys to know." But we're renewing our vows. Sorry.
Colm, don't apologise. Take
No,
your
I want to
time.
get this out. I said, we're renewing our vows tomorrow morning in the villa at the pool. And all the strange activity that you thought was going on with plumbers and maintenance men and guys with a false moustache. They're the wedding planners. One of the wedding planners, Paul, I said, "Look, Paul, everyone's going to know what's going on and stuff going around," because we'd all got in the day before. Everyone had got in that day, and they were getting their stuff in their rooms, and we needed the wedding planners to get everything ready in a day. So I said, "You cannot tell anyone if they meet you who you are," and he took it really serious. And he had a set of overalls and a false moustache, and if anyone said anything to him, he'd just go, "Okay, what?" And I go, "Paul, this is like, you're a madman. This is like some of them were saying, who is that madman at the pool?" But anyway, they had 24 hours to put the whole wedding together. And when we got everyone into this bar, we then shot a text to the wedding planners, "Go again," and then they set the whole thing up, and they set up a little, I won't say altar because we're not religious, a little area. We had music, we had catering, we had people, we had loads of people. Then my best mate, which I didn't tell anybody, my best mate, he flew in. Sorry, my best man at our wedding, him and his wife, we had them fly in as well from Dublin, and we just had the best ever. And it was just something that Anne really, really wanted. She wanted to renew the vows in front of family, with our kids as well, that they were part of the day, that they would remember it as well. And it was magical, it really was magical. And that is Anne, that's Anne. And that is Anne doing it not for herself, but for everybody. And to the very last day. I mean, I know people say, "Oh my God, this person was so selfless." She was unbelievably selfless. And everything she did was always for other people. Except when she got onto Sheen. So it was 35 years up there. That's why, sorry, that was my answer.
But that date, 15th, it means a lot to it means a lot to Anne. It was something that mattered to her, and the fact that Alex and Holly, your children, were involved 4 years beforehand. Again, everything I'm getting is that Anne lived. She just kept living.
She had to. Look, I'm not going to say there weren't incredibly dark days. There were really, really dark days and dark nights, really difficult times, and we all knew what we were dealing with. But it's like grief. Keep yourself busy. Keep yourself busy, because it's just hanging around like a stranger in a laneway, ready to jump on you. And I know with Anne and her mind, that's, like every night she would have to take a sleeping tablet, because I know that's when the demons would come in. And there was some nights, I remember one particular night at 3 o'clock in the morning, she was having a really, really difficult night. The rain was it was outside, we were in a storm, and I said, "Right, come on, let's walk to Sea Point." And she said, "Well, we can't walk to Sea Point in the rain." And I said, "Yes, we can." And we did. And we sat at 3 o'clock in the morning, me and Anne, and a guy who'd obviously taken quite a lot of something, and just looked out at the sea for an hour and then walked back, and that was just that time to distract,
Yeah. And that's because you were living with a sort of grief, I can only imagine, as well.
There is see, again, I don't want to use the word death sentence, but let's be honest. When we were told that you've got stage 4 metastatic cancer and it's incurable, and you obviously are going to Janice, what does that mean in a time frame? And she'd say, well, it could mean a year, it could mean 3 years, it could mean 6 years. Everyone is different. And I had this expression as well, which I always use. And Anne would go, am I dying? And am I dying? And I'd say, Anne, we all are, but just at different speeds.
That's an amazing way to frame it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm sure there was some bargaining going on during the time with Anne for her life, for moods, for both of you. You must have been trying to regulate each other. And Anne was thinking about other people, of course, people that she's leaving behind. But for you, Anne's gone such a short period of time. And even though there was this 6-year period, what is your grief now? What was it?
I'm still waiting for her to ring me.
Okay.
And pick her up from the airport.
Yeah.
I really am. And there's times I hear her call me in the house, because she would spend a lot of time upstairs, and she'd be on her Netflix or iPad, because she was near the end. She was very tired. And grief is a loneliest, saddest place I've ever been in my entire life. And I don't know how to deal with it.
Do you acknowledge it's there?
Oh God, yeah. So yeah, I acknowledge it's there. I mean, I'm in therapy now. I was terrible in therapy before. Anne and me went to therapy. We went to couples therapy years and years ago, and I accused the therapist of ganging up on me. Then I went to another therapist, and I passed him one day in Dunleary Shopping Centre, and he ignored me. And when I went to the next station, I said, "Why'd you do that?" He said, "That's what we do." And I said, "Well, then I don't want you. If you talk to me here, but you ignore me out there, you're not going to help me."
Okay.
So now at the moment, I've found a great therapist. It's really, really good. So I'm in therapy. I know grief is there. I know it's there all the time. It's there every single day. It's there. It's there when you're on your own. It's funny. I do understand. I'm beginning to understand an awful lot of things. I was always very fascinated by the mind, and I was involved in Cycle Against Suicide and many charities. So I was very fascinated. And I used to be a call taker on Childline, but never told anybody. I was just fascinated by the mind and the way it works and operates. And I'm learning so much now in the last couple of weeks, that you can be in a room like on Friday night. And I was out with my friends, and we had an amazing dinner. There was 3 of us. We had an amazing dinner, and it was great. And I was chatting and laughing. We were taking pictures of each other and sending it to other groups and whatever. My daughter was on, "How are you getting on with Alice and Susie?" I said, It's great that we're back together again having dinner." And I went home and I poured a glass of wine. I was on my own, and I put on a piece of music, and my world collapsed within 30 seconds.
Just took you.
Just took me away to, I was just gone. I had to ring my sister-in-law to ask her, just talk to me for a few minutes, because I can't deal with this. And I dealt with it, and I did, and you know. But what made me think was, my God, how quickly a person's mind can disintegrate if they're suffering a trauma or a loss, you know. And it's that fast. So grief for me is to keep busy. Then I get guilty, because I feel I'm leaving Anne behind, which I don't want to. Stupid little things like having to take her name. It's not a stupid little thing for us. It's a huge thing for me. Having to take her name off the joint account. She was a director of my company. So we had to go through all of that, and you had to get death certificates and everything. And I hated doing that, because I just felt I was moving on, you know. And I'd always, I said at the, you know, when all of this was happening, that I would always take her with me on my shoulder, you know. And that's what I really want to do, and make sure that she's there with everything, because it is. You move on, like you just like you move on, because it's 60 days. It's 2 months, 60 days. So then it's going to be 61 days, and then it's going to be 65 days. So and time is distance. And people say time heals. It doesn't. It just gives you distance. Yeah. And I don't want to heal. Yeah. I really don't want to heal. I don't want to wake up one day and not remember Anne. You know, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. So I want to be in a position where I'm able to cope with it, you know, and and that's what Anne would want. But I don't want, I don't want to heal.
But this is what's interesting, because you're going through grief and the guilt that you're feeling. But I hate this, but life goes on. When I was looking at my mother the night of my dad's funeral, and we were watching Coronation Street, I was like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
But it kind of, everything else keeps on going at a pace. And you just mentioned something so interesting, and that's the administration of death in your life.
Yeah. It's something you don't realise.
There are jobs to be done.
Yeah. Now, these simple things, right? I don't know the Panda account. I don't know I know when the bins go out, but I don't know how to pay it because Anne paid it.
Yeah.
So this is I have to keep her phone. Now I've changed it across to mine, but I had to for the first month keep her phone on.
Yeah.
To get these notices for Board Gosh, for Panda, also because Anne did my accounts for Ross, for revenue and stuff, because she had all of that. That was her deal, you know. And the administration from the tiniest bit of doing Panda to the biggest bit of getting your tax returns. I mean, my new accountant had to ring revenue to say, look, can you just back off a little bit on Colm? We'll get to it, but he's just lost his partner, and she also did everything, and they actually went, well, how long?
Oh God, is it within our parameters? Does computers say yes or no?
Exactly, before the interest accrues. But anyway, you don't care about those things.
But
there is the administration of it that's really. See, it's not that I don't care, but they trigger. Little things trigger all the time. So last week I was in the house, there was lash and rain, and there was nobody there. Holly'd gone back to work, and I was sitting there. I was trying to work. The other thing is I'd taken up piano a number of years ago, and I can't play it now because I used to always play it for Anne. But anyway, I'll get back to that, or maybe take up the ukulele. But I needed to get out of the house, so I decided I needed a radiator key to bleed the radiator upstairs in the bathroom that hadn't been bled in 5 years.
Okay.
So I drove to Woody's in Sallynoggin in the most horrendous rain ever last, I think, Wednesday, and walked in. And just as I walked in, they started playing Driving Home for Christmas from Chris Rea. Oh. Now, the year that was released, Anne and myself were only starting to go out, and I flew her to London to a Chris Rea concert, and he played that. And snow fell on top of us all, and balloons and Christmas. So it was our song. So I'm there looking for a radiator key, listening to Driving Home for Christmas. So I got back into the car and decided I couldn't go home. So I went to 4 different hardware stores. I now have 5 radiator keys. I have.
For the distraction.
Yeah, for my collection. It's my new collection.
Your new collection.
Every time I go away now, I'm going to buy a radiator key.
In honour.
This is the Greek radiator key. The Spanish ones are really bizarre. Why did you start collecting them? I'm not telling you.
I would be staring at what's going up on your walls.
Yeah.
At An Post Insurance, we know how important it is to take care of your family. So even when you're not around, your family will know what to expect. With our funeral insurance, you can cover your own funeral costs from as little as €20 per month. With no medicals required if you're aged between 50 and 75 and resident in the Republic of Ireland. Taking care of not being there. Call us now on 0818 22 2222.
You're in a zone right now, like where Anne is still very much alive to you.
Yeah, very much alive. Yeah, very much. Like our clothes are all still in the house. There's a laundry basket there of unwashed clothes. That I said to Holly, what will we do? And Holly's my daughter, and Holly said, well, I don't think we should do anything yet. And I go, okay. I'm taking, all our clothes are there, and I'm going, what are we going? And Holly said, look, I'll go through them at one stage, maybe with her sister Tara. I don't think you should. And she said, look, just leave them. But there's a certain comfort in them, there. And I thought the first thing I was going to do after Anne passed was sell the bed. The bed, not the house, the bed, because we had this super king size bed, and we had so long. The kids grew up in it as well, you know. And I said, I can't get back into that bed. And now it's a comfort. It's a real comfort, you know. Like if I move away, I'm going to take the bed with me.
So things that you thought one way, it's all changing. Like everything for you is changing. Is it changing day by day?
Yes, it is. And a lot of people, a lot of good people who I know and I trust, said that to me. They said, "Look, just don't." I had a thing in management. When I was in management, I had this thing. I never make a decision on a Monday because I'll regret it on a Tuesday. And I'll change it on a Wednesday. So whenever there was meetings or stuff had to be done, they'd always go to me. No, don't ask Colm. It's Monday. He'll tell us on Tuesday. Sounds like Craig David. Don't make a decision on a Monday. And that was the way. So good people said to me, Colm, don't knee jerk because you're angry. You're angry. Yeah. You're angry at the world. You've lost your partner. They've known many people that have just gone back into the house and literally just ripped everything out, or people that have never gone back to the house. And that was difficult at the start, but and I can understand that. So every time I'm about to make a decision, I breathe and just really think about it.
Talk to me about the anger.
Yeah, well, the anger is because she's not there anymore. Like, why did she, and we'd say this, why did she have it? Like, why does this person have it? Okay, let's say there's a guy and he smokes 800 cigarettes a day and has 25 pints and he's been told, buddy, if you don't stop, you're going to get cancer. And he gets cancer and he dies. And you go, buddy, you were warned. And never smoked. Wasn't a particularly big drinker. Lived a life, and a fantastic, amazing life. She was the matriarch of the family. Mm-hmm. So her mum died very young, and her dad wasn't there because he was an alcoholic. So he wasn't there for them. And Anne was the oldest girl. And from about 15, she had to leave school and take care of all of them, like 7 of them. Good old Belfast family, Catholic family. And when she got to about 18, she just jumped on a train and went to Tralee to work in a hotel, and she said, I can't do this anymore. I need my life now. But she had brought all of the kids up, so she was the matriarch of the family. And now they're all adults, obviously, in business and all doing very well. But Anne was their centre, so they all would fall out with each other. And the only person that never fell out with anybody was Anne. She said she'd never fall out with any of them. There's no point. You know, whatever it is, we'll get through it. But, you know, so Anne was the centre of that. And she was the center of everything then as well. Like if you met Anne, you'd know she was so gentle and so completely the opposite of me, you know. And that she's gone now. I'm so angry that the world took her. I'm not religious, so my anger isn't at God. My anger is just at the way the Big Bang put us together in this life is just crap. Oh, it's lovely, the flowers grow and the trees are green and life goes on. But there's certain bits that whoever was up there, he or she just didn't get it right. You know, he didn't get that whole cancer thing right. He didn't get that whole early death, or even like, you know, the whole thing. I think he should have got a death first, then life, then born, then, you know what I mean? It's just, why does it work this way? But then look at what's in the world. It's a terrible place. So you get angry, you get really angry at life. You get angry at yourself for surviving.
A survivor's guilt.
Yeah, total survivor's guilt, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But you're a father of 2 children.
Yeah, Alex is 31, Holly's 25. Yeah.
They've watched their mother be sick for 6 years, but she lived with cancer for 6 years.
No, but she was sick, it's fine. She had cancer. Let's call it what it is. She had cancer for 6 years, and some people after 6 months would be past dead, not survived. So she survived, lived it for 6 years, and they seen it. Yeah,
I suppose for them, they're looking at you in the house. How are you doing? Like, of course you're worried about them. I get that.
Yeah.
But there must be like, how is your relationship? I know it's so recent, but how is that when you're thinking about your children and they're thinking about you?
I have 2 of the most fantastic kids so when I talked about our Portugal group, They always came away on holidays with us. Even as adults, they came away on holidays. A year and a half ago, we went to Barcelona for a week. They came away on holidays with us. They're very free-spirited, independent people, but we invested a lot of time. I keep saying this to people who say to me, like, my 3-year-old, I want to kill them. Oh, they won't stop shouting. How did you do it with your kids? And I said, well, they were the same, but just invest time in them. Just don't judge them. I never judged my kids for doing something because they were kids, I just empower them maybe not to do that the next time or to give them, but never wanted there to be a wall or a barrier that it was, and I'm not saying that mum, dad and the kids, but just that it was a soft barrier that they could still come to us with stuff, like when Alex was 14, Anne would put condoms in his room and would say, they're for you, and I go, no, I'm not telling you to have sex or not to have sex. That's entirely up to you. I'm just giving you the armour and the empowerment that if you do, that it doesn't lead to anything extra in complications. And it got to a stage then when Alex's mates used to call around looking for condoms. Because Anne went to the drawer once and there was about 20 condoms gone, and she said, Jesus, you really went for it there, boy, didn't you? And he was going, no, my mates now know where they are.
That stuff ain't cheap, Anne. The lads are all coming in. They're getting freebies.
And I'm going, fine. So we had a really strong, same with Holly, we had a really, really strong relationship that was based on trust, that was based on mutual respect, judgment. And obviously, yes, they were grounded now and then, and there was the usual stuff. But at the end, I just feel judgment is a terrible thing, when we do it to people. So I prefer not to judge people and judge them before they do anything, because that's prejudging, that's prejudice. So I don't like that. So we had a very open relationship, and for that reason, they are now amazing, and they're really, really good. I mean, when this happened and Anne passed, Alex and his partner Laura moved back into the house for like 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah. And Alex just said, and he doesn't call me dad, he calls me Colm. Never called me dad in his life. He just went, Colm, we're coming in. I don't care what you're saying. We're moving back. And Holly's been there as well. So we have been comfort to each of us. Like they're sensible, articulate, intelligent, grown adults. They know that I need them as much as they need me.
The first night I left my mother after Dad died, I was really worried. How was that for you?
The first night?
When I stayed for a while after Dad died. In the house, so she wasn't alone.
So it was staggering, as in they were then moving in and out, and then Laura, they just got a house in Bray, so Laura sort of moved back, and then Alex would stay. He'd come back in from work and he'd go, you know what, I'm staying tonight. But then there has been the one night then when I was there in the house and Alex wasn't coming and Holly was out that night. The emptiness was frightening. Yeah, it was. I was scared. I was scared of being alone. I was scared of my own brain. I was scared of the thoughts I had in my head. I was really scared. It was so dark, and I did something I've never done in my entire life. I went into a bar on my own and had a drink, sat at a bar. And I always remember for years, me and Anne would be down in our local, and we'd have, when I say we might go in there once every 4 weeks, and we'd look at all these guys sitting at the bar on their own, and I'd always go down, geez, I hope I never turn up like that. But I had to get out of the house, and I did it, and I sat there. I had, typically me, I'm so posh, I didn't have a beer, I had wine. Sitting at a bar, the only one. And then I went back home after one. I said, okay, we got to deal with this, Colm. We got to sort this out. We're not going to be that guy because wine is too expensive in a bar. So now, you do have meltdowns. You do have meltdowns. Yeah. You do. And I think it's okay. I was listening to Stephen Bishop the other night, and that was a big thing for me and Anne. We love Stephen Bishop. Yeah. And we loved the song One More Night, and it was sort of back at the start of our relationship when we sort of split up. We weren't married or whatever, and I remember sort of chasing back after her and just saying, just give me one more night, to hold you, and I'll tell you why we should be together. Fast forward 40 years, and that song just has such a different significance to me. Because I'm not going to get the one more night.
These triggers for you they're everywhere.
They are everywhere. Yeah, so this is what I said. Grief, there's two things. First, it's a minefield because you don't know where they are, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing, it's snakes on ladders. And this is what, you'll understand this. And people who, because I hit a trigger, that trigger is a snake. It's back to start. It's back to go. It's not, great, I'll pick myself up from where I was just before the trigger. It's not. I'm right back at go again. I'm right back 2 months again. And I have to start again. It's like, I suppose it's like an alcoholic having that drink, you know? Yeah. So for other people, friends and, you know, maybe the trigger, they're okay. They can work it and move from there. But when you're the closest person to that person and you've slept with them for 35 years, you've lived with them every single day. Now, the last 4 years, being their best friend and their carer, the trigger takes you back.
To the start.
Yeah.
So one thing that you did was that you went back to work 13 days after and died.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming that, like, as you're just the way you're talking about it, distraction is so important.
I'm very lucky in what I do. I love what I do and what I do as a broadcaster, and I'm very lucky to have my best friend Lucy to work with, and she was there for the day of diagnosis. She's been there every single day, so she knows everything. And she obviously was there in the hospital, and she was there with the kids, and she had said, look, you come back when you are ready, but I think, you know, you should come back sooner rather than later. And she was right. She was right because, you know, I walked in, she was there, did the show. And look, when the red light goes on, we do perform, you know. I was very careful the way I did stuff because I didn't want anyone to think that I was trying to, getting more followers or likes. I know it's terrible, isn't it?
God.
Or B, monetizing my wife's, because unfortunately that's the world we live in. And I did a video just before the day I was going back to work because I wanted people to know I was going back. And I asked Lucy, will you, you know, join in this video and get the radio station as well because it'll soften the blow tomorrow. And I did it, and I got the most amazing, beautiful, absolutely amazing response. Like thousands of messages going, oh my God, we're there, Colm, we're there for you. We'll be listening tomorrow. And I'd say I got about 2 messages. Like only 2, but it would be like, oh yeah, got over that fast enough, didn't you? Yeah, all you're thinking of is your career. How much are you making out of this post? You know, and I thought, there's very angry people out there. You know, really angry people. But in fairness, there was very, very few. But isn't it funny? They're the ones you get. So I got back on air, and it's everyone supported me, family, friends. I know it's ridiculous. Some people say, you know, is a stranger coming up in the street and they hug you and they say, I'm really sorry for your loss. Does that mean anything? It really does. It really, really does. And if anyone's attending a funeral, don't think I'll forget who hugged me. But I remember how many people did. I'll forget the face, but I remember the hug. And it's really, really important. You know, a hug is so important. I used to teach kids the Disney hug.
Which is?
So the Disney hug. So if you're going to be a character in Disneyland, they teach you the Disney hug. So if you're Mickey Mouse or if you go up and hug a kid, you hug the kid till they let go. You don't let go. And it's a beautiful thing. And so there are people that I know from hugging them, they do that. They wait till I release and then they release. And it's a lovely feeling of comfort and security and safety, you know. The only thing is if the kid has heard about the Disney hug and they never let go. Park's closing.
Long day. You can't stay overnight.
No,
can't stay overnight, guys.
Oh, it's the Disney hug kid.
Can't stay overnight.
Yeah.
Can't stay overnight.
You heard about him. Yeah, but it's so you get comfort in all of that. So I got comfort from being on air. I mean, the messages that came in that morning, you know, were amazing. And then Lucy had said, look, if it comes up or something's come up, do we talk about Anne? And I said, yeah, of course we do. She was part of the show. You know, we invest our lives into the show, you know, so people know all about Holly and Alex and Anne and my dog Stitch and all the crazy stuff that goes on in my life. Similarly with Lucy, everyone knows it's family. So she's still family. It's just she's not there, but she's still family, and so we do, and listeners will, you know, the first couple of weeks going, I'm so sorry, Colm, and I go, hey, listen, here we are. Okay, give us your guess. You know, on the quiz, off we go. Yeah. We got to go. You know, and that's been good because I'd be awake at 5 o'clock in the morning anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I might as well be in work.
Might as well be at work.
Yeah, I don't consider it work, to be honest.
But I think for anyone, the fact that someone said, "Oh, you're going back to work," that's what people do. You have to keep on. You have to keep on going.
Yeah, you have to. And it's not a case of, and this again, if people are feeling guilt, it's not a case of I've moved on. I've moved on from my husband. I've moved on from my wife, my son, my daughter. Look, I'm back in work a week later. I'm fine. It's not. It's that you got to do that because the alternative is you will fall apart. And I'm sure the person that you've lost, if it's a partner or a life partner, does not want you to fall apart. Yeah. Like I know that Anne, you know, wanted me to get my shit together and you know, be there for Alex and Holly. Alex is getting married next August, and you know, we spoke about it. She's not going to be there now. And Alex, we've spoken about what are you going to do? How are you going to deal with it? And I went, I don't know. I you know, there's no point having an empty chair at the top table because that would be too poignant. But I think I want a photo of her beside me, you know, at the table. Yeah. So I know you got it's. So it's not you're not moving on. You're not moving away from that person. You just, as I said, if you don't start doing or putting stuff into your day, you'll fall apart. Your brain will fall apart. Like your heart breaks. I'd hate if my brain broke as well.
Yeah.
You know?
And how important, because you've said you're not religious, and I don't know about Anne, but how important...
She wasn't religious.
She wasn't religious either.
No.
So, being a woman from Belfast, you can kind of understand with everything that she...
She was quite Catholic. Even with everything in the north and everything. It was, I mean, I'll be honest, it was with all the controversy with the church in the 90s and everything. We both just fell out because we couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
We could just thought...
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
So, for you, how important was because it was a non-religious ceremony. Yeah. Was that important to you?
The funeral.
The funeral.
So the people. A lot of people don't know this, but the guy that did it is one of my best mates, and he's called John Daly, and he's a priest. And he said, "I'm not going to wear my dog collar that day, Colm." And I said, "Okay, that's because I said, but you're good at doing the whole MC stuff."
Did you say that to the priest?
Yeah. I know him since we're 4. Like he's one of my best mates.
Good at the MC stuff.
And I said, look, just you'll know how to push it along, because I'll be ready for my speech and that, but for everything else, no. And he said, look, do you want me to do? I was actually in a boardroom in a church, in a sacristy in Swords, because that's where he operates with Anne's brothers. And he said, do you want me to do anything like from the Bible or a religious thing or whatever, or say anything? And the brothers all went, no. Anne said, absolutely not. And I went, hang on a second, guys. I said, John, I'm going to tell you something. There will be a lot of people out in the congregation who are religious. Now, I'm not religious, and Anne's not religious, but they are. And I am fully behind people who have faith, whatever their faith is. So I said, maybe a few words from the Bible will help them. So I don't have a problem. So we chose some speeches from the Bible, from little sayings, and that was fine. We used, and I said, look, there's elderly women. Why am I picking on elderly women? Sorry, that's because the only people I ever see going into church. So there's people out there that it just could help them, yeah. And I know that's what Anne would want, because she didn't have a religion, but she loved all religions. Do you know what I mean? She loved people who had religion. It didn't matter what, Hindus, Buddhists, Protestants, yeah. Catholics, Muslims, Jews, everything. She just had this fascination about that they were able to have a faith. She just couldn't, and nor could I. And
so the funeral for you, it was about everybody else as well, clearly. It was about the congregation, the people who had come to pay their respects to Anne.
Yeah.
Was it important to you and to Holly and to Alex? Is it something you remember, or is it a complete blur?
Oh, God, no, I remember it. Yeah. I remember it. And it's funny, there was a few of my friends were away and couldn't get back, and they watched it online. And I got a message from Canada, I got a message from Croatia, and I got a message from Spain, from friends who had been watching it, which I thought, that's mad, isn't it? You know, that really is. It wasn't as big as the Eurovision but it was still it was viewed across Europe. It was better than the Eurovision.
Better songs.
I do remember it. I remember spending a lot of time working on the songs that we were going to play, working on what I wanted to say, because I knew this was a time that people who did know Anne, who didn't know Anne, who loved her, I felt a responsibility that they had to go away and go, oh my God, she sounded like she was amazing, an amazing person. So I felt there was a responsibility on my shoulders to do that. So we had it it was very well choreographed with what Holly wanted to say. She quoted lyrics from a Paddy Casey song, because Anne loved Paddy Casey. I can't remember what my son did, and I quoted at the very end, as I said to everybody, it's not Shakespeare. She wasn't into poetry. But it was just a couple of words that we absolutely loved. And it was, I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let you down. And we did the whole Brick Astley. Because we did that at the renewals, and I told people in the audience we're doing it. Now, I stole it from Ted Lasso, okay? I know, from the funeral scene in Ted Lasso. But I did it at the renewals, and I started going, I'm never going to give you up. And then people in the crowd stood up, never going to let you down, never going to run around. So I quoted that at the end of the funeral. She would have loved that, because she hated Shakespeare. Yeah.
That's so gorgeous. It was her. You could feel her in the ceremony.
Yes, it had to be. It had to be her, because she lived an amazing life. She lived a great life. Like, I pulled out, I said, we've worked out where she's been in the last 3 years, and I pulled out like a list and went through the whole list of where she'd been and spoke about the 2 suitcases we'd always have, because I wanted people maybe to get comfort, maybe to just go, God, she's an amazing woman. You know, he was a lucky guy. He is a lucky guy. Yeah.
You don't have to answer this, and it's a very recent past, but do you think about where she is, or have you discussed that?
I do, and I can't work it out in my head.
Yeah.
I do, I really do. I'll tell you what I really think about, that wherever she is, I hope she's not lonely. Because I know where I am, and I'm lonely. So that's, I hope, I'm not saying her mother is beside her. Yeah. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe in spirituality. All of this can't just mean nothing, you know what I mean? There has to be some sense of meaning that maybe sometime, somewhere we find out. I mean, the last couple of days when Anne was in the hospital, and she, you know, we were told, you know, she was hanging on, but she wasn't even there, you know. I wasn't able to go into the room, and some of her brothers came to me and said, look, why are you not going in to see your Anne? And I said, because that's not Anne. Okay. I said, Anne is gone. That's not Anne. I said, if you guys are okay in there, I've absolutely no problem. So the previous days when Anne, just before she really drifted off in the morphine, I was sleeping in the ward with her. I was sleeping in the room on a fold-down bed. And just before she drifted off, it was the next day, she lasted another 2 days, but she had drifted off with the morphine. I sat beside her. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I turned on Spotify, and we sang a couple of songs together. And I spoke to her, and one of the songs was ours, was always the Eagles, I Can't Tell You Why. That's the song we had as the closing. The other one was Bruce Springsteen, If I Should Fall Behind, Wait For Me. That's the song we used for the renewal when Anne came down the stairs and up to where I was standing. So we always sang Always and Forever, Heat Wave. So we sang them, and I spoke to her. And she was in pain that night, so they had to administer a little bit more morphine. We knew what was coming down. And then the next day they did as well. And I was so thankful that I'd thought of that, and that sat there and sang for 20, 25 minutes, you know, because she wouldn't have heard me the next day, you know. I know this is as cheesy as cheese goes. This cheese string, this cheesy cheeser. Where is she? She's certainly inside me, right? She's certainly inside me. If you saw my daughter, Holly, it was beautiful. I think you might have met her once in the board, gosh. Beautiful, dark, straightens her hair, but it is curly. I prefer when it starts like curly. She is the embodiment of Anne. And she looks exactly the way Anne looked when we started going out. And this is weird because this is what your brain and your mind does. So this isn't Hollywood or spirituality or God or anything. But in the last few days when Anne was hanging on, but we knew where it was gone, I started to see more of Anne in Holly than I ever did before. Each day, even a reaction or the way she turn her head or flick her hair or say something to somebody, I go, oh my God, that's more and more of Anne. It was like Anne was pouring into her, you know. Now, she wasn't, okay? Or maybe some people believe she was. I'm very cynical. But I got this sense that Anne was pouring herself into Holly. Or Holly was becoming Anne. Something was happening. There was something going on that I'm not sure. And that was really, it was actually very comforting. It was really comforting, and so yeah, that's where she is. She's there, and she's certainly inside me. You know, she'll be there forever and ever. You know.
Colm, in this very recent heartbreak and grief that you are experiencing, that you are living, are there any parting words that you might have for someone who's listening today that you have either learned throughout this process or something that's come to you?
I think the way we lived with it for the 6 years, I would highly recommend. Now, your accountant and your bank manager mightn't. And I got to pay all these holidays back. I said, jokingly, in bad gallow humour and jokingly in bad dark humour, I often once said to Anne, I hope this is incurable because you're costing me a fortune. Have you got something going on with Janice? You know? And she'd go, yeah. Next time, do you mind if Janice comes with me the next time? Her oncologist? Because Janice said, I'd meet Janice. Janice goes, oh my God, she's away again. What's going on? So just really live your life. Live it to the extent that you can. Try have no regrets. Because somebody said to me, do you have any regrets? And I said, I regret nothing, and I regret everything. And with everything that's happened, I regret nothing because I had a beautiful, beautiful wife. And I regret everything because I could have made it more special. And that's guilt. That's guilt. So it's going to happen. You're going to get guilt when it happens. But if you're in a situation now where you have a partner, like Anne over the last 6 years, just treasure the moment, you know. Treasure the days, you know.
It's such a privilege to have you talk to us, Colm Mays. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now for some mindful minutes with our expert guest, Fiona Sweeney. Fiona is a renowned Irish breathwork expert, widely known for her holistic approach to wellness and her dedication to empowering individuals through conscious breathing techniques. Fiona is going to guide you through a breathwork technique to help you restore your calm.
Hi, I'm Fiona, and today I'm going to guide you through a calming breathwork practice that helps you move from feeling anxious or stressed to feeling more steady and more settled. This breath activates your vagus nerve, your natural reset switch. Before we begin, Find a nice, safe, comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. And please remember not to practice breathwork when driving, walking, or near water. This is a moment for you to pause. When we begin to breathe together in a moment, your focus will be on a long, slow, soft exhale. You're going to breathe in through your nose for 4 counts, and then breathe out slowly, without force, through your mouth for 6 counts. So let's start. Gently close your eyes or soften your gaze and bring your attention to your breath. Don't change anything about your breathing just yet. Just focus on how your breath is right now in this moment. Pay attention to how the air feels in your nose, your chest, and your belly as you breathe in and you breathe out. Pay attention to how your body feels. Tune in to where you're holding tension or tightness. On your next inhale, breathe in gently for 2, 3, 4, and exhale slowly for 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in gently for 2, 3, 4, and breathing out slowly for 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going now at that pace, focusing on that long, slow, soft exhale. Remember, you don't need to take a big, deep breath in. It should be soft and gentle. And on your exhale, don't rush or force your breath. Breathe out softly and slowly. Inhaling gently and slowly, and breathing out softly and slowly. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. As you exhale, visualize the tension and the tightness leaving your body. With each long, slow exhale, your body softens that little bit more. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. It's okay if your mind wanders. Just come back to your breath and that rhythmic counting. Breathing in for 4 and out for 6. Relaxing into each breath as that long, slow exhale brings a sense of calm and ease. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's do one more like that now. Breathing in and breathing out. Just rest now. Let your breathing fall back to its natural rhythm. Bring your attention back to your breath and how you're breathing now. Can you notice how it's changed? Stay here for a few breaths more and notice how your body feels in this stillness. When you feel ready, bring your attention back to the room or where you are. Remember, you can come back to this breath anytime you need it. Your breath is always with you. A quiet place to return to. One inhale and one exhale at a time.
You have been listening to Parting Words, a podcast from RIP.ie and proudly sponsored by An Post Insurance, supporting the plans that makes life's hardest moment a little easier. You can find out more at anpostinsurance.ie and subscribe now for more episodes in this series.